That's right. That's right. Oh man, oh man. Welcome back. Welcome back. 105.5 CHEZ, taking you through the 2022-2023 Fantasy Football League. Let's go through the week 3 and the week 4 preview. A lot of wins, a lot of losses by Gary. We dive into the league now on our preview. Good to be back with you, ladies and gentlemen. Good to be back with you. 105.5 The CHEZ, we are back. We'd like to thank our sponsors at the beginning of this broadcast. Our week 3 preview, week 4, our week 3 roundup, week 4 preview is sponsored by Meme-Matic, where skeet is still bad. Meme-Matic. Let's look into last week. A lot of chaos around the league. Obviously, a lot of trades, everything of that nature. We're going to hit on a little bit of the waiver wire today, seeing that we were delaying this broadcast until after the waiver wire. Obviously, the Finesse Weekly came prior to, and now we're going to be scooping that up. So, Andrew, ability to work phone, my boy, and ability to post with accurate information after the waiver. So, let's look back at our high and our low. And again, we're going to be looking at these comparatively to the all-time highs and the all-time lows. So let's look at week 3. We'll start with the all-time high. No surprise here. It is Andrew himself. Actually, that is a surprise. He gets spoon-fed, obviously. 143.1 over Skeet, which Skeet get rolled over, my boy. But these do not come even close to the all-time high, which is 187.6, which is CHEZ. And then obviously you have to factor in Alex is 200 with no Joe Mixon as the net. So again, nothing record-breaking there. The all-time low. We had an exciting race on the all-time low. So if you don't remember, first off, ability to remember if you don't, Calder. But last week, Evan was dethroned as the putrid all-time low, and Gary is the new all-time low at 63.5. Galt was tracking very, very, very hard on that. But luckily, a spoon-feeding CeeDee Lamb touchdown on the 1-yard line instead of giving it to Zeke or Tony Pollard, who have run over the entire Giants organization that night. Galt escaped. He was at 67.6, which is the low for the week, 67.6 by Galt. But it's not the all-time low set by Gary at a measly 63.5. Galt, we're going to hit on Galt for a second. Galt, I mean, consistency of team, my boy. You go from about to break the all-time high. Let me get the number here. 186.4 last week, and then you go down to 67.6. My boy, can you do it? Like, can your team constantly play the right way? I'm speechless. But nonetheless, we'll move forward into our greatest delta. And if you don't remember, this is basically the highest delta of points between the winner and the loser. It was really tight this week comparatively. I mean, we've had some, I think it was 60s in the past 2 or 3 weeks or so. This one, the big greatest delta was CHEZ toppling the I don't even want to call it a team. That is Gary's team. I mean, at this point, you got to win the game to be called a team. But 24.9, that was the greatest delta this week. Saw a lot of close games. I mean, there was a time where Calder and Alex, which both of which are not good, was literally point one away. We were basically waiting on a stat correction, but thankfully there was a spoon feeding, and even though Alex legitimately outplayed Calder, Calder somehow spoon fed a one or a win. That ended up being 101.2 to 99.1. I think that was our closest. Yeah, it was our closest by two. But we also had a 3 point, or roughly a 3 point loss from Clay to Galt. But yeah, I mean, 24.9. If that's the greatest deficit, that's a pretty competitive week across the board. A lot of fun games going into late Sunday and then even Monday night as well. We're going to also look, and this is exciting news, one of our new segments, the sperm bank. Andrew referred to it as the punching bag. Um, again, this is the player who is just getting absolutely railroaded Pauls in every week Pauls and has the highest points against him. Gary was traditionally this winner, but we have a new one now. It's Skeet. Skeet has overcome Gary Pauls. 418.3 is what he's currently at against points against, which is roughly 18 points higher than Gary. So we have a new sperm bank. We have a new sperm bank winner. Right now it's Skeet. Now, obviously, there's a lot of room there. There's a lot of people that are relatively close in that. So a spoon feeding here, anti there, could definitely waiver that. But we'll keep track of that week to week as we move forward. But again, that's basically week three roundups. We can look at the standings, I guess, before we go into our highlighted match. Two outliers. Scoggins has somehow escaped with a 3-0 record. He got spoon fed against me, if I'm not mistaken. But nevertheless, he is the only 3-0 remaining now. And on the flip side of that, you have an 0-3. The only 0-3 team left. Gary, can you win, my boy? Everything else in there is 2-1, 1-2. So very early in the year, still a lot of competitive play to happen. If we're looking at standings and everything, a lot of things can happen, right? I mean, the only thing that I don't see happening is Gary being good. So, that's kind of where we are. And obviously, we'll keep you up to date as those flesh out more and more as the weeks to come. I think there are going to be a lot of changes. CHEZ is going to get to the top, obviously, because he's just better than everyone else in this league. But that nonetheless, and Calder will slowly descend back to where he belongs. Now, looking forward into our highlighted match. Now, Andrew alluded to this on the Finesse Weekly, but we're looking at Andrew versus Scoggins. A couple of factors into this. Scoggins is the only 3-0 team, like we mentioned. Another factor is Andrew is right on his heels at 2-1, and I'm pretty sure if I looked at the points for, points against, a win for Andrew would basically sling him into the number one spot. Again, we're really early in week 4, but nonetheless, that is a good highlighted match. Andrew right now is projected to win by 15, actually 16 points, really. So it's going to be a really good game. We're going to see if Scoggins can pull it out. And good luck, Scoggins. Andrew has a spoon shoved firmly down his throat, and another one in another place that we're not going to talk about on this PG-rated show. But I digress. That's our highlighted match. Let's see. We'll keep a track of who is Gary playing. Gary might actually have a chance. He's playing Calder. So that is just two teams that I just don't want to enjoy. Call no Broncos and 49ers. Call no Cowboys and Giants. Oh, we're not even going to get into that. Actually, we are. That's the ugliest games I've ever seen in my life. And Andrew hit on those. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but I am getting. Let's ride. Bronco country. Let's ride. But anywho, so Gary's got a chance there. It's 49 versus 51% as far as the categories, or as far as the percentage. 2.4 point deficit there. Everything else is pretty much even, 53, 52, 54. Again, Andrews is the highest projected right now, 57% in his favor. We'll certainly keep an eye on that. But that is basically it. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to hit on the waiver wires again, since Andrew ability to hit waiver wire. So let's go into the recent activity. I mean, obviously, we saw a lot of trades. You'll see those on the Finesse Weekly as they come about. But we're going to mainly focus on uh, the waiver pickups. Um, Naheem Himes, whatever. Um, Chargers defense. This is an interesting one. So Andrew did not make a waiver claim, but Matt Collins. I don't know. I don't know what to think of that. I mean, obviously Renfro was out last week, so I think that's going to definitely impact Hollins. And then obviously Mr. Waller, who is superior. Um, from a bias standpoint, I don't really care who gets the touchdowns as long as there's touchdowns being spread around. So we'll keep an eye on that. That could be a big pickup. That's really the major waiver wire pickup that I see. Um, Andrew dropped the goat that is Cooper Rush. Matt Breida got picked up. That's whatever. That's really about all I see. Tyler Boyd got picked up. Um, he's the QB. He's the wide receiver 3 on that team. Here's a good one. Kenny Pickett got scooped. So Kenny Pickett's probably going to start here in the near future. Um, we'll see how that goes. And quarterbacks are very, very in short rounds right now. By the way, if you need a quarterback, I've got 4. Hit me up, Gary. Gary, hit me up. But anywho, uh, that's basically all we have today. We're going to cut it short. Again, people with legitimate work and classes have to go, but just want to give you that roundup. We'll definitely be back next week, recapping week 4 and then looking into week 5. But until then, I am 105.5 the CHEZ. We appreciate your time, and Gary, wage.